because you had to change how you were looking for people, and when you did that, you recruited a remarkable person into the organization. And now all of a sudden that person is proving to themselves that you can trust them and expand with them.
Yes.
And so at some point that person becomes invaluable to the organization because they've earned it.
Right.
Not because they demand it. So when you look forward to the next 3 to 5 years, I mean, it's just like versus where you were even 2 years ago or a year ago, where you were pushing 4 million and you hit 13 and a half, and now we're going to 60. When you think about creating a $500 million company, what's that feel like? What's that imagery in your mind look like when you're thinking about that?
It's just amazing. You know, I have my son here. This is going to be a legacy business. I'm going to pass that on to him. So I'm looking for this to be a multi-generational company and to be able to put the foundation in, right? So that if anything does happen to me, that business is solid. It is,
and you have partners.
And I have partners.
So if something happens to you, you know I'm going to step in,
right?
Because we're connected.
Connected, yes.
And I think that's another thing for business owners. You know, when you have the wrong partner, most business owners are like, oh, I wish I didn't have that partner,
right?
Because they didn't know how to put it together right.
Correct.
But if you put it together right, and you do have that kind of partner that's going to pull you, then it's like an insurance policy against things that could go wrong or life-changing environments, because your whole family is interconnected to the business.
Right. Yeah. And I thought about it as an insurance policy, but it's so much more than that, Brandon. Like having a partnership with you, it's just, it keeps removing the lids, you know, and then you're partners with Grant, and you get around Grant, and, you know, if there's not a B in front of it, you're not thinking big enough.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
And I guess people listening to this that are sitting there right now, if you're sitting there and you're like, I work for somebody who's not showing me how to succeed, then you have a choice to move on. Or you could go to them and say, hey, if I learn how to help you build a great team, because what I heard you say is you recruited a guy that because you had to change how you were looking for people, and when you did that, you recruited a remarkable person into the organization. And now all of a sudden that person is proving to themselves that you can trust them and expand with them.
Yes.
And so at some point that person becomes invaluable to the organization because they've earned it.
Right.
Not because they demand it.
Right.
And so if you're listening to the show and you're working for a business owner who's struggling, you can learn how to do the things that we're talking about and go to the business owner and say, if I'm willing to put up a little bit of my own money and go to these programs, train on Cardone U, become really super good, and I show you through performance that you can trust me because I'm doing it, would you be willing to give me an option to own some of the company with you down the road, or an expansion area, or do something different? As a business owner, you'd be like, God, that's a much better conversation than trying to get somebody to show up to work in the morning.
100%.
So if you're watching this, look, you don't have to, you can be a co-creator of success. Because if you listen to any of my interviews, every entrepreneur has said that they're succeeding because they've gathered great people who are aligned with them. Those great people, like the president of my company, first job he ever had when I sold it, he made $10 million. Yeah. You don't have to create your net worth on your own by yourself. You can do it by helping somebody else succeed as well.
Yes.
And I think if we want to have a $500 million or $1 billion company, we're going to need those people.
We're going to need those people. Yeah, since then I've added probably 4 of those same type of people.
So you're multiplying now because you figured out how to do it.
Yes.
And you might listen to yourself and go, oh, he's lucky. No, it's not luck. He's put a lot of work between leadership programs, 10X owner, 10X employee programs, advising, being on all the channels, listening to our partners. He's had to put a lot of work in himself.
Yes.
In order to attract those people.
Yes.
And what would you say to the listeners or people watching about how deep that work actually has to go?
Oh, it's hard work. You know, the thing for me is this is my 4th business. If I could have had this 20, 30 years ago, we'd be great partners. But yeah, you still have to get up every day. It's back to my caddy analogy. You still have to hit the golf shot. You still have to execute on a daily basis, and you're the leader, right? So if you're not, putting those values in place and live in the mission and the core values, the rest of the team's not going to follow you.
How good a caddy would you be able to recruit if you were a professional golfer, you weren't winning, you weren't spending time on the practice facility, you weren't showing up to the tournaments on time because you were disgruntled or you were lazy? How great of a caddy would you recruit to be your caddy?
Yeah, like the best you could afford.
That's right, the best you could afford.
The best you could afford.
And so then the mindset is, how cheap can I get a caddy?
Right. That's the mindset.
And then who will be willing to do it for free for me? Right? And the diminishing returns, you're never going to go anywhere from that.
Never going to run.
But you will recruit a great caddy and a great coach when they see your commitment, your dedication, your resilience, your drive, your vision, your perspective, your creativity. Like, people want to be around that.
Right. It's infectious. The energy level goes up in the room. It's everybody, the alignment comes real fast with that energy.
And it's hard for people, like, I just love these interviews because it's so hard for people to understand how fast that can change.
Yeah, I mean, we were with you March of last year. We're not even at a year yet. We're 10 months.
And you're 3.5 times bigger, or 3 times bigger.
Yes.
Going to 15 times.
Yes.
Bigger.
Going to 15 times bigger. That's how fast it can change.
And you're like, but that's just where I'm starting.
That's just where I'm starting.
You almost want to laugh. I mean, we got to laugh because it's so amazing.
I know.
Hey, I would invite, listen, if you're watching or listening to this show and you want to be part of a remarkable business, it's just people like my buddy Jeff here who, like, all of a sudden have this epiphany and realize they want to take people with them. Look, if you're in the concrete business and you're working anywhere and you're like frustrated because the ownership isn't talking about growth, they're not focused on success, I don't care what market you're in, reach out to us. Like, hit the link on this show and say, I'm in the business and I want to figure out how to work with you guys. Because here's the one thing I can promise you. Grant Cardone and I do not partner with people if we don't see a 10X in the equation. You wouldn't have partnered with us if you didn't think we could all 10X together.
Correct.
But to 10X, we need partners, we need employees, we need markets. And guess what? You don't have to, you can partner with us and we'll help you do it in whatever market you're in, and we'll all be partners together. So you're not constrained by any boundaries. The only boundary you're constrained by is your willingness to concede that maybe you're not doing all the things you're capable of doing and you want to do more.
Correct.
And then you got to take action.
Right.
And make the decision to do something. Jeff's a man of many words, by the way.
Yeah. All I can say is the opportunity's out there. If you want it, just come with us. We'll help you get it.
That's right.